You will not believe what just happened. One of Kenya's most beloved celebrity couples has just been rocked by something so shocking, so devastating, that even their most loyal fans are sitting with their hands over their mouths right now. A 45 million shilling luxury vehicle destroyed, a hit and run in broad daylight, and the man behind it all, a Matatu driver who simply drove away. Bahati, one of Kenya's biggest gospel-turned-secular artists, a man who has given his wife the world, confirmed it himself, and when he did, the emotion in his voice said everything. Stay right here because this story gets darker before it gets even better. Now, if you are new here, first of all, you picked the perfect video to start with, because what you are about to unpack today is one of the most talked about celebrity incidents in Kenya right now. And if you have been following Diana Bahati and Bahati for any amount of time, you already know that this couple does not have a quiet life. They live loud, they love loud, and unfortunately, today they are hurting loud. So grab your seat, settle in, because we're going all the way into this story, every single detail, every reaction, every layer, and trust me, by the end of this video, you are going to feel something, and let us get into it.
Matatu manze. Matatu Githurai. Yani jana umenifanya mbaya. Ona jo.
Look at that.
Hit and run. Hit and run. Yani hata mngeningoja na Prado. Mnabonda Brabus. Alafu huyu jamaa alibonda hivi. Akaona hii sasa hii bei ni mbaya. Akaona heri sasa atoke mbio ijaionekana. Amjanifanya poa.
Now, before we get into the full breakdown of what happened, we need to establish something that is very important, because this is not just a story about a car. This is a story about sacrifice, public image, and the pain that comes when something deeply personal is violently taken from you. Now, the car in question is not just any car, it is a customized Mercedes G-Wagon Brabus edition. And for those who are not familiar with what Brabus is, let me paint you a picture. Brabus is a German high-performance automotive tuning company that takes already elite vehicles and transforms them into something beyond extraordinary. Think more powerful engine, more aggressive body kit, interior luxury that makes your eyes water, and a price tag that most people will never see in their lifetime. This specific vehicle, Diana Bahati's Brabus G-Wagon, is valued at approximately 45 million Kenyan shillings. And it was not just purchased, it was gifted. Bahati, in one of his most dramatic and romantic gestures this country has seen from a celebrity, presented this vehicle to Diana as a gift, a symbol of his love, a symbol of how far they had come. And the Brabus was not just a car parked in the driveway, it was a statement, it was content, it was their story of four wheels, and it has appeared in social media clips being driven along Thika Road, turning heads, stopping traffic, quite literally causing people to lose their composure at the sight of it. That vehicle, that 45 million Kenyan shilling symbol of love, is now sitting in a garage, damaged because of a Matatu from Githurai, and let that sink in for a moment. But that is not all. Wait until you hear exactly how this went down, because the details of this incident are the kind that make your blood boil. Reports that have surfaced in early 2026 indicate that Diana Bahati's Brabus Mercedes G-Wagon was involved in a collision with a Matatu operating on the Githurai route. Now, if you know Nairobi, you already understand the weight of that sentence. The Githurai route, particularly along the Thika Superhighway corridor, is one of the most notorious stretches of the road in the city. The Matatus on this route have a long and painful reputation for reckless, aggressive, and dangerous driving, overtaking where there is no space, cutting lanes without warning, speeding in ways that make every other driver on the road a potential victim. And on this particular occasion, it appears that recklessness caught up with Diana Bahati's vehicle. The collision alleged involved the Matatu making contact with the Brabus G-Wagon, causing what has been described as significant damage. Damage to a vehicle worth 45 million Kenyan shilling. And then, as if the collision itself was not enough, the Matatu fled, hit and ran. The driver, whoever was behind that wheel, made the decision in those seconds after impact to accelerate and disappear into the Nairobi traffic, leaving behind a damaged luxury vehicle, leaving behind shock, leaving behind a couple whose symbol of love was now sitting broken on the side of the road. The vehicle has since been spotted at a garage for repairs, and while the full details of any legal processes are still unfolding, what is clear is that this incident has triggered a very public and emotional response from Bahati himself. Now, when Bahati confirmed this publicly, something in his words and his tone told a story that went far beyond just a damaged car. He described himself as heartbroken, devastated, and those are not just words a man uses lightly, especially a man who has spent years building a public persona of resilience, of strength, of being the provider, the protector, and the man who makes things happen for his family. Because here is the thing about Bahati that sometimes gets lost in the noise of celebrity gossip. This is a man who grew up with very little, a man who was once an orphan, a man who pulled himself out of circumstances that would have crushed most people and built something remarkable through sheer faith and hard work. So when Bahati gifts Diana that Brabus, it is not simply a transaction, it is a declaration. It is him saying, I have made it, I can give you the world, you are worth 45 million Kenyan shillings and you are worth every sacrifice. And when that vehicle, that declaration of love, was struck by a reckless driver who did not even have the decency to stop, you understand why Bahati's reaction was not just about the money, it was about the violation. It was about the helplessness of watching something you worked for so hard, something so symbolic, get destroyed by someone else's carelessness. His frustration with reckless driving on Nairobi's roads was palpable. His public statements, and honestly, it resonated with millions of Kenyans who deal with the same dangers every single day. The difference, of course, is that most of us do not have a 45 million Kenyan shilling car, but the feeling of being victimized by reckless Matatu driving, every Kenyan with a vehicle understands that pain completely. And then there is Diana. Diana Marwa Bahati is not a passive figure in this couple's story. She is someone who has built her own massive following, her own career, her own identity that exists alongside and independent of Bahati's. She has been open about her journey, her struggles, her parts of the story that she chose to share with her audience, and the parts that took enormous courage to reveal. She has been someone who showed Kenya that a woman can be deeply in love and fiercely independent, and that Brabus, it was hers, her vehicle, her daily reality of what a life transformed looks like. It was the kind of possession that, for someone who has come from where Diana has come from, carries a weight that goes beyond material value. Fans of Diana have flooded social media expressing their concern and their sympathy, not because of the financial value of the car, but because they understand what it represents in their story. The reaction from their fan base has been overwhelming. Comments filled with prayers, messages of solidarity, and an anger, a very real and a justified anger, directed at a system that allows reckless Matatu drivers to operate on Nairobi's roads, cause damage, and simply vanish. But here is where the story opens up into something much larger, because while Bahati and Diana's Brabus focal point of this particular incident, the truth is that what happened to them happens every single day to ordinary Kenyans. The Matatu industry in Kenya is one of the most complex and challenging transportation ecosystems in the world. Millions of Kenyans depend on Matatus every day. They are the backbone of urban mobility, but they are also, in many documented and deeply concerning cases, the source of reckless behavior that costs lives, destroys property, and terrorizes other road users. The Githurai route specifically has been flagged numerous times. The driving culture on that corridor, the speed, the lane switching, the overtaking has been the subject of complaints from residents, road safety advocates, and ordinary commuters for years. And yet, the cycle continues. An incident happens, someone's vehicle is damaged, a driver flees, the system groans under the weight of another hit and run. Bahati's public frustration, his willingness to speak openly about what happened, has actually done something important. It has brought a spotlight back onto a conversation that Kenya needs to keep giving that Kenya needs to keep having: road safety, accountability, the rights of other road users when a commercial vehicle operator causes damages and run. And when a celebrity with millions of followers speaks on it, that conversation reaches places it otherwise will not. That is the unintended consequence of this tragedy, that it forced a conversation that matters. Now, let us talk about what the internet had to say, because, you know, Kenyans on social media do not stay quiet. Within hours of the story breaking, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are all buzzing. Some fans were purely sympathetic, prayers for the couple, messages telling them that things will be okay, reminders that the vehicle can be repaired, but the couple's safety matters more, and that sentiment was genuinely touching to see. Others took more fiery approach: anger at the Matatu driver, calls for NTSA to act, demand that Githurai route operators face consequences. And then, as is always the case on Kenyan social media, there was the other side of the conversation. Some people, perhaps surprisingly, used the moment to make comments about the wealth on display, to question whether a family should own a 45 million shilling vehicle, to insert a class debate into what was fundamentally a story about road safety and reckless driving. But the majority was one of the genuine concern and sympathy for a couple that whatever anyone thinks of them has always been transparent with their audience. So where does this go from here? The vehicle is currently at a garage undergoing what are expected to be significant repairs. Given that it costs 45 million shilling, a customized Brabus G-Wagon, we are talking about a repair process that is not simple, not cheap and not fast. Brabus spec parts are not exactly sitting on shelves at your local motor spare shop in Nairobi. This is going to take time. On the legal side, the couple has not yet shared every detail on how they are pursuing accountability for the hit and run, but given Bahati's very public reaction, it seems highly unlikely that this will simply be swept under the carpet. Whether through the police, NTSA or other legal channels, the expectation from fans and observers alike is that there will be some form of pursuit of accountability. Whether that results in the Matatu driver being identified and brought to face consequences remain to be seen. Hit and run cases in Nairobi have a complicated history. Some are resolved, many are not, and that reality perhaps is the most frustrating part of this entire story. For Bahati and Diana, two people who have built their lives in the public eye, the thought that the person responsible for this might never face consequences, that is a pain that no amount of money or fame can simply erase. At the end of the day, this story is about more than a car. It is about a couple navigating public life with all of its beauty and all of its pain. It's about a system that fails ordinary Kenyans on the road every single day and occasionally reminds us of that failure through incidents that capture national attention. It is about Bahati, a man who started with nothing, watching something he built with everything get damaged by someone else's carelessness. And it is about Diana, a woman who has earned every single piece of her story, dealing with the violation of having something precious taken from her. We will be watching this story closely as more details emerge about the legal process, about the repairs, about the couple's response in the coming weeks. We will bring them to you because you deserve the full picture, not the rumor, not the speculation, the full detail, honest picture. If this video gave you that today, please do one thing: hit the like button, drop a comment telling us your thoughts on what happened, and share this video with someone who follows Bahati and Diana. Subscribe if you are not already on the channel because we're just getting started, and before you click away, check out the video on the screen right now because we have another story just as dramatic, just as deep, that you absolutely cannot miss. Stay safe on Nairobi's roads, and we will see you again in the next Celebrity Drama Files.